Hey there, so today we have another review. This is a beer from Founders. This is with the rebrand, so I thought I'd review some of these beers with the rebrand. What has been the history so far? The breakfast fat has been not great. Definitely prefer the Terrapin Wake and Bake when I did Battle Beers. Founders Porter is still like just one of the best beers like out there completely. Yeah, maybe I'll keep an eye on some other beers. You guys post comments below, like what other brands from Founders you like me to review. This is Founders Dirty Bastard. Actually, you guys can skip ahead if you like to just dig into the review. We're going to talk a little bit about this beer and a little bit of history. So, actually, it's pretty cool. If on the website, you can actually find out owners. I don't know if they're. I guess I don't know. Are they still the owners? They sold the brewery, but Dave and Mike are sort of like the OG people that opened up the brewery, and they actually told the story. Actually, on the website, they have a story about about this beer, and they actually told that story to us in person, which is pretty crazy. And so pretty much the story goes that like this was really a failing brewery for quite some time. I believe they started around 2007. And I mean, I don't think this beer is anything they say or, this beer is a good example of what to do in the modern market, but pretty much they had almost went bankrupt and then, ignored sort of like trends and still went with beers that were not quote unquote like, cool and popular. And that's one of them. We have a slash Scotch ale style. I actually can't imagine this beer was one of the beers that helped them keep afloat. I mean, I assume it had to be maybe KBS that put them on the map, and then breakfast stouts, and then obviously all day just dominating their portfolio. Over 50% of the production became all day. So those are successful brands, and this was not. And I don't think it's a good lesson to like, hey, like just brew whatever you want, and try to figure it out. Because like in the modern market, that's just with the squeezing and the closure of so many breweries, pay attention to what the market sort of asks for, maybe, right? Anyway. Last time I had, well, first off, really cool. Just reminded myself that like 2017 when I was invited out there for their 25th anniversary. So I guess the brewery's a little bit older. The brewery must be from like, well, anyway, 25 years minus 2017. So like maybe like 1998. Anyway, you guys do the math for me. Anyway, so it was really cool. Getting flown out to Michigan. Just really wonderful hospitality. Got to meet a bunch of people, hang out with people at the brewery. Just absolutely cool. And the last time I actually had this beer was actually 2 years ago when I was actually in Michigan to visit Katie's family. And I mean, when in Rome, you're obviously going to drink some Dirty Bastard, some Founders beer. And then since then, I don't think I've actually reviewed it for guys or had it. So let's dig into this guy. What is this, by the way? We should probably talk about this beer. This is I don't know why they call it Venture Series. I thought this was one of their just like year-round flagship IPAs. Venture Series, where the classics never go out of style, the new legends arise. I have no clue what that means. This is an 8.5%, what do they call it? Scotch style ale. All right. 50 IBU. Beer comes in a really nice kind of light to medium brown color. Yeah, medium brown color. Has a little bit of like ruby on the edges. Wonderful tan head. Yeah, looks pretty nice. Yeah. I mean, that's honestly, do you know what it immediately reminds me of? It reminds me of Doppelbock. I can't imagine this beer is decoction mashed and use all those like cool processes that German brewing does. Possibly there's Munich in here, that might be part of it, but it has all that just like dense breadiness, dates, bread crust, rye bread, pumpernickel. Yeah, there's a little bit of like light roast and chocolate in here, which Doppelbock does. Again, full blind, just on the nose, I would have guessed Doppelbock. It's actually not that smoky. It's actually a relatively fresh bottle. It's a bottle about 6 months ago, which is for Scotch ale, whatever. Yeah, it really has just dense, concentrated malt flavors. It's just, I mean, I probably haven't tasted it, but yeah, it smells like mash. Like when you make a big sticky mash, it just has this kind of like rich, concentrated malt flavor. Like it's just malts for days, grains for days, breads for days. Like a little bit of dark fruit in there, a little bit of like dry cherry, raisin, dried fig. Yeah, big, rich, robust maltiness, a little bit of caramel, a little bit of toffee. It smells like Doppelbock. I don't know how to describe it. Honestly, tastes like Doppelbock too. Wow. That'd be a hard blind. All right. Good luck for you Cicerones, advanced Cicerones, and Mods out there. Like, I really do not taste that little bit of like peat and smoke that should be on here. I feel like that was a little bit more prominent. I feel like this beer's got a little bit more watered down, less. I feel like it was always maybe a little bit more roasty, maybe not quite, but I always felt it had a little bit. Nah, actually, as you wait, that smoke sort of lingers on the back end. It has a little bit of like noticeable like hot bitterness too, like earthy hot bitterness, and then it actually has a lingering kind of like pipe tobacco kind of lingering flavor on the back end. But without like knowing that and looking for it, it really is very double bucky, just like the nose. It's just big, like big, rich, burly malts for days. I mean, just like the nose, it's toasted bread, rye, pumpernickel, um, um, you know, 12 grain bread, just like all the rich graininess, um, mash, like big mash, sticky mash. Um, and then it has some of that fruitiness too, maybe a light raisin and dehydrated raisin note. Some dried figs are in there. With a little bit of roast as well, like an actual, which, you know, the fun part is that light smoky peaty action on the back end for some reason reminds me a little bit of like this oxidative note that like Doppelbock can get, like that's kind of like umami, kind of like autolysis, like when actual yeast just dies in the bottle, and it gives a little bit of soy saucy umami kind of thing, and it sort of reminds you of this kind of like roasty smokiness that this beer has. So this, honestly, this would be mess you up on a blind tasting. No, I mean, then again, I mean, Scotch ale and we heavy and Doppelbock will mess you up, and this American example actually does that too. So I guess they're two styles that are very close, and the American example actually does replicate the or is close to a German traditional Doppelbock quite nicely. I wouldn't say towards maybe something like Paulana Salvatore, which is maybe a little bit lighter, but this has a burly kind of like, if you get a darker Doppelbock, you can easily mix up these two. Huh. It maybe doesn't have the smoothness and cleanness of an ale a lager fermentation, and there are some edges to it. Like it shoots out with this kind of like on the back end, just a little bit of pipe tobacco that like seems just slightly out of place for Doppelbock. So, I mean, the amount of times I said the Doppelbock word in this review is actually quite funny. Probably more times than the actual style it's supposed to be, which is like Scotch style ale / wee heavy. Let's see what they say about the beer. Dark ruby in color. Yep. Dirty bastard. Blah, blah, blah. With rich notes of caramel and dried fruits, malty sweetness, paired with the right hook of hop power. Blah blah blah. I promise you I didn't read that back label, and I basically described it to you guys blind, which is really cool. Again, that's something I always appreciate. Like pick through the flavors and sort of describe it to you guys, and then like boom, what they wrote on the label is basically what I said, which is cool. Yeah, you guys tell me, like, did my review, like what I said before reading that, come close to what you guys, or did what I say come close to what I just read off the label? Again, I'll repeat myself. Complex and finished with rich notes of caramel and dried fruits, a malty sweetness paired with a right hook of hop power give this Scotch style ale all the attitude that its namesake implies. They mention the hop power, but also they don't really mention the little bit of smoke or something going on here. They mention on the website there's a little bit like smoky peatiness. But yeah, they're right. There's a hop punch in here. Like, it shows off a little bit too hoppy for Doppelbock, which I guess fresh Doppelbock should have it, but here it just has a little bit of noticeable earthiness, which I really like the balance. It really helps clean out the beer, makes it a little like quite drinkable for an 8.5. Then again, Doppelbock's quite drinkable, and those beers generally end up around like 7-ish. 8.5 is a little bit big for Doppelbock, but Doppelbocks can get up there. So where that relies on like smooth lagering character and really everything tampered down, this has a little bit of bite, that little American kick to it that helps clean up the beer. How bitterness sort of cuts into the finish of a beer. Yeah, it really makes the beer quite tasty. That's really good. Let's go for rating. Again, I think generally people consider the best beers at Founders, those are the malty ones, right? Like KBS, Breakfast Stout, Founders Porter, Dirty Bastard, Backwoods Bastard, blah, 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 blah. Then again, they sell a ton of all day, so I don't know. That was very good. Mouthfeel, medium to medium plus. Not too spritzy with the carb. Again, doesn't linger too long, not too sticky. There's probably a certain amount of residual sweetness on here, but the hot bitterness really is quite nice to cut through that. That's really tasty. Let's go with this. This is really tasty. Then again, Backwoods might be one of my favorite beers they make, and I think that possibly is one of my picks for maybe even better than KBS. I should find some Backwards because I believe that might be a shelfie for me. If it's a shelfie for you, go pick some up and let me know what you think. Backwoods, by the way, is the barrel aged version of this beer. 95, high praise. That is so good. Shout out to Founders. I really haven't had Founders recently, or I haven't reviewed much Founders recently for you guys. So this is a classic, one of those shelfies. Again, Founders Sport is probably the best beer they make, in my opinion. Maybe. This is up there, 95. Absolutely fantastic. Basically world class. Just really tasty. Big malt bomb. You like that? Cheers.